Today, we're talking about Claressa Shields crashing out on the internet, y'all. She went live accusing everyone of being haters, and that's where I think the disconnect is. A lot of people are actually fans of Claressa Shields. They support her boxing career. They respect her accomplishments. What they don't support are some of her recent actions. People aren't rocking with the situation involving Papoose. They didn't like how she handled things with Laila Ali. They didn't like how she spoke to that woman during the toy drive involving children. These are very specific incidents. This isn't random hate. This is people holding her accountable and expressing opinions about her behavior. Somewhere along the way, Claressa has adopted this mindset that if someone disagrees with her or criticizes her actions, they must be a hater. And no, absolutely not. Disagreement is not hate. Accountability is not hate. Criticism is not hate. And trying to dismiss everything by saying it's AI videos or fake narratives is just not gonna work. It's not AI over here, y'all. At the core of all of this, Claressa Shields is very pressed about public opinion, specifically about her relationship with Papoose, the money conversation surrounding her, and whether or not her upcoming fight is actually sold out. Those are the things that keep coming up, and those are the things she keeps addressing. And here is where the contradiction comes in. She says she doesn't care what people say. She says she doesn't pay attention to negativity, but then she goes live and addresses every single talking point that the so-called haters have been discussing. You can't claim you don't care while actively responding to everything. This is something we see all the time with celebrities, athletes, and reality stars. They all say they don't see the negativity. They all say they don't read comments. They all say they don't know what's being said about them. Meanwhile, they've got Google alerts, group chats, managers, or somebody on their team watching the temperature of social media and reporting back. The problem for Claressa Shields is this. It is painfully obvious that she does not have a PR team. She does not have a publicist. She does not have anyone telling her, hey, this isn't a good look. Log off. Focus on training. None of this online back and forth is helping her. Instead of locking in and preparing for her upcoming boxing match, she's tuned in to every comment, every blog, every opinion, and responding in real time. And yes, she's admitted herself that she's getting clicks, views, and engagement, which equals money. So in her mind, the chaos is paying off. But at what cost? So we're going to get into a couple of clips from that live, and we're going to react to them, because the contradictions, the defensiveness, and the lack of self-awareness are impossible to ignore. Let's get into it.
What lady interview you talking about? I haven't done an interview with a lady who asked me about Pat being upstairs. I don't think. It's an interview? Y'all know it's getting close to fight time when I put the braids in. The hair I had in wasn't gonna make it. Wasn't gonna make it. I done had a few different hairstyles. February 22nd, I heard that all the floor seats is sold out. Always great to hear that. I know my opponent has been tweeting things and saying, like, oh, she don't know where the promotion is and all this stuff, but we have sold 41% of the building out. Last time when I was getting ready for Joe Nace, when we sold out, we were at 21% 5 weeks out. So now we're at 41% of the building sold out before our fight. And I'm just so confused on why my opponent is saying stuff like, oh, the promotion is not this and not that. Because I'll say right now, I'm getting 56 million views a day on my Instagram, and that's where I'm posting and promoting the fight. I'm getting a bunch of million of views on my Facebook, a bunch of million of views on my Instagram.
First of all, Claressa Shields, you told us yourself that Papoose was upstairs. You made a point to let it be known when Papoose is in town, when he's around, when he's available, all of that. So let's not act confused now about why people are talking. Now let's talk about this sold out claim, because words mean things. You said your fight was sold out. To most people, sold out means there are no tickets left. Zero. Nada. The only way to get in is resale, scalpers, or secondhand tickets. That's what sold out means. But now you're admitting the fight is 41% sold. See, this is exactly what I mean. So it was never sold out. That was not a misunderstanding. That was not the fans twisting your words. That was simply not true. And that's also why you are still actively promoting the fight on Ticketmaster. If it were sold out, there would be nothing left to promote. Then you doubled down and said you're allegedly getting 56 million views a day on Instagram. Really? Every day? 56 million? Okay. At some point, people are not hating, they're just doing basic math and asking reasonable questions. You can't inflate numbers, contradict yourself, and then get mad when people notice. Now, the next clip we're going to get into is Claressa Shields addressing the rumors about whether or not Papoose is her manager and what role he actually plays in her career. And this part is important because, once again, it's another situation where the story keeps shifting depending on who's asking and what narrative needs to be protected in that moment. So let's get into that clip and break it down.
Get a few things straight on here. Stop saying Pap is my manager because he's not. Let's start there. Stop that shit. I've been tired of y'all saying that. Y'all know it's a lie. It's not true. Stop saying that he got any money from me, because no, he didn't. I was going to sign a big lucrative deal no matter who I signed with, but the biggest and most lucrative deal that I signed with was Salida and Win Records, which was $8 million. And all that money came to my account. So let's get that going also too. A third thing, I am so smart and so intelligent. Can't nobody try to get down on me or snake me or anything. So y'all got to stop with that. I don't even like that narrative. I wish y'all would stop. It's like y'all just believe anything that anybody say.
Claressa Shields, this part right here, that's not even for us. That's something you need to take up directly with Papoose. All of these manager allegations, all of this who's running what talk, that's coming from him, not from thin air. Papoose has gone on at least 3 separate interviews where he himself is the one breaking down boxing negotiations, talking about contracts, talking about what he's handling on your behalf. He's the one putting that narrative into the atmosphere. So if you're angry about people repeating it, you're directing that frustration at the wrong audience. The conversation you need to have is with Papoose, period. You should probably sit down and actually watch the interviews Papoose has been doing ever since this whole entanglement between the two of you started, because that's where all of this is coming from. Nobody invented it, nobody made it up, he said it. And then here's where things really stop adding up. You keep telling people how smart you are, how intelligent you are, yet you are knowingly involved with a married man, not allegedly, knowingly. You're dealing with someone who at any moment can decide to go back home to his wife. And for someone who claims to be so aware, so sharp, so 10 steps ahead, this situation has been going on for what, almost 2 years now? And there's still no divorce decree, no paperwork, nothing filed, nothing finalized? But you're so smart, Claressa. Make it make sense. Seriously, make it make sense. And then on top of that, you want people to believe you received an $8 million deal, fully deposited, straight into your bank account. No deductions, no cuts, no percentages taken out, records didn't take their share, Salida didn't take a cut, your manager, whoever that is, didn't take a dime. You're telling people that all $8 million hit your account clean, up front, no strings attached. That's the story you want everyone to accept at face value? And while we're here, are you ever going to address calling in to Hood Champion Sports, pretending to be someone else, only to expose yourself when you started saying things like, my tickets, my image, my brand, my likeness, I put food on the table, I feed my family? Because that happened too. That's not speculation. It's also very interesting behavior for someone who claims they're not pressed about what's being said about them online. For somebody who says they don't care, you came prepared. Talking points locked and loaded, responses ready. So let me ask this. Does that sound like someone who's in the right mental space? Does that sound like someone who's fully locked in and properly preparing for an upcoming fight, one that, by your own words, is not sold out? Your words, not mine. You admitted it wasn't sold out. Yet you're still working overtime trying to sell this image, sell this relationship, sell this entire situation with Papoose, while conveniently leaving out critical details and missing information that only make things look worse. And here's another thing I've learned over time. Anytime someone has to constantly tell you how nice they are, how good of a person they are, chances are they're not. Because if the receipts show you're always cussing people out, snapping on folks, turning everything up to a 10 when it only needed a 10, then what are we really talking about? How are you a nice person if the pattern shows otherwise? What all of this tells me is simple. There is nobody in Claressa Shields' corner telling her to log off. Nobody advising her to stay off the internet, lock in, focus on training, and limit her online presence strictly to promoting her upcoming match. Nobody. Because instead of doing that, she's addicted to the attention. She's hooked on the engagement. Positive or negative, it doesn't matter, as long as people are talking. So when you say you don't care, you do care. Because if you didn't, you wouldn't respond. And every time you do respond, you say just enough to create doubt, just enough to contradict what you previously said, and just enough to raise more questions. And once again, the common denominator here is Papoose. That's who you need to be talking to. That's who you need to be having these conversations with. Because he's the one out here telling the world he's in the room with boxing executives. He's the one saying he's handling negotiations. He's the one presenting himself as the motion behind the scenes. That narrative is coming from him. That's not on the public. That's not on bloggers. That's not on commentators. That's between you and Papoose. That's it. That's all. Finito. End of the road. End of the line for this video. Let me know what you think in the comments. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you're notified the moment I drop new content. And with that being said, I'll talk to you guys again very soon.